Yes? Oh, okay, great. Okay, great. Oh my god. Sorry, it's my first time and I messed up, obviously. And thank you for finding the new link um, just for me. And again, I think people in Europe, it's very early for you guys. Thank you so much for gathering today. And in the US, I think it's, what is it, Thursday night? Friday night? Friday night? Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. All right. So, today I am going to, well, let's first of all, like maybe introduce myself properly because I don't think I've ever, except shout at you guys in my short videos. I'm Kyota Ko. I'm 42, and I live in Tokyo. So it's 12:30 lunchtime in Tokyo right now, and I just learned something new today. I was having lunch and I swallowed rice grain with my lungs. So I was trying to recover from that, my throat. So I learned that it's not a good idea to have beef bowl before live stream. Anyway, today I'd like to present some good news. One is my, where'd it go? I'm just new to the setup. But this is my office. It's not my usual dark room where I shout. It's soundproofed, so hopefully my neighbors don't know what's going on. Um, thank you. All right. Let's see. So the first product release I'd like to announce today is a new audiobook, Underdogs of Japanese History. It took me 6 months to record and edit, but it's now available, I think, on Spotify, if Spotify carries audiobooks in your country. In Japan, they don't, so I have no way to check. But in other audiobook platforms, like, what is it? Like audiobook Barnes and Nobles, what else? Google Play, Rakuten Kobo, and some others, all except Audible. So last time with Folktales of Japan, the audiobook, I didn't do audiobook. Audible because of 大人の事情. 大人の事情 means adult reasons. To spill the tea, Amazon Kindle Direct Publishing, the book publishing services, excellent service. I mean, if it were not for them, I would not be speaking like this today. I would not be a full-time author today. But Audible is like, well, what happens? The managers or directors are obviously different. They're I don't want to say greedy, but they're like Audible's like, if you hang out with other audiobook platforms, I'm gonna give only half of me. So they're very stingy, and I can't set the price myself. They set the price, so everything's the same price basically, which will be unfair for people who buy my books or audiobooks on other platforms. So I have long decided to not avail audiobooks on Audible. So I'm sorry for Audible users, but it's I'm sure it's available on Spotify in countries except Japan. Let's see. Thank you for saying, sharing your love of my short videos. Thank you so much for all of you. Oh, thank you. When I went to you went to Yamagata Prefecture. Nerd for words. Oh yeah, yes. It's Yamagata. I've been there twice, and I think I have a video climbing a mountain there. It was a really nice hike. It was hard, but it's very doable and it's very scenic. Yeah, I hope you went there too. Thank you. I love your content, Kyota-san. Thank you very much. Right. Yes. So I think I can imagine some authors kind of resenting audibles. I'm sorry to say I am one of those. Anyway, so Underdogs of Japanese History, just to give you a little sneak peek of what it's like in case you haven't read the book. This is about, the subtitle it says it all. It's like 11 tales of iconic characters who prevailed against the odds, or didn't, right? So these are underdog tales I gathered from the 1,500 years of Japanese history. And like many of them, how should I say it? It's like many of them achieve something in life, but only one of them is for them is money. And I think you agree that they accomplish things much more valuable than money. And I felt there are some perspectives that will broaden our life choices, knowing these stories. So I hope you enjoy them. This is like 11 short biographies with supplementary cultural and historical notes, so that you won't get lost in any of them, even if you know nothing about Japan. So that's like my my concept throughout all the book series I've written so far. So just to give you a sneak peek, the first story is about the prisoners of Kodenmacho. Kodenmacho is a neighborhood in Tokyo, actually near Tokyo Station, that still exists, but it used to be a place where prisoners were kept, and they were overcrowded during the Edo period. This is the story from Edo period. It's about these really unruly prisoners who basically kill each other in prison, and a samurai prison guard whose family had been the prison guards for generations, and they together changed the course of prison history in Japan. And I'm sure you'll love this story. Maeda Keiji. Maeda Keiji is a warlord from the Maeda samurai family, feudal samurai family, in the Sengoku and Edo period. And he's basically, what do I call him? He's basically, he's a delinquent, but he's like, he's not a bad guy. He's just very eccentric in his what he does in life. He's kind of like a little like me, and I'm sure many of you, some of you guys out there, he didn't fit in the corporate world. Like I call it the corporate samurai world. The corporate world of Japan is very much like the samurai world during feudal times, and he didn't fit in. He was rather a creative type, I guess, and how he found happiness in life, I think, will inspire many people. I'm just gonna glance at the comments. Do you know the history of Japanese comedy? Yes. It started in the late Sengoku period, where the Taiko, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, the ruler of Japan then, he had, he's smart because he admits that he's not smart. So he has all these smart people around him, his vassals, and there was a kind of vassal who were tasked to entertain him with stories and their knowledge. So some of these people started, reciting their stories in funny ways. So that's said to be the origin of rakugo. Rakugo is sit-down comedy. That's still going on in Japan. It's a traditional monologue art, performance art in Japan. So it started, the roots started in the late Sengoku era. All right. Anyway, and amenpo, so illustration. That's right. Oharu of Jakarta. This is a story from the early Edo period, where the Tokugawa shogunate starts expelling foreigners because of their fear of the spreading Christianity. So basically all people, most of them were in Nagasaki, the western part of Japan. Everyone who looked foreigner were expelled, which is not nice, including half Japanese, half, I think this was half Italian Oharu was half Italian. She was allegedly very beautiful, like many half people are. And she was expelled to never to return to Japan. So, people think her life was all about misery, but was it? This is the plot of the story. Imagawa Ujizane, he's the second generation of a very, very, very successful father entrepreneur, and unfortunately, his family bloodline, except him, gets discontinued because his father loses in battle unexpectedly. So what happens to him? Eijima, this is very, what do you call it? It's like high school drama. It's very dark. There is a harem in the shogunate, Edo Castle, for I think 200 years, and it's a story about a lady in waiting who lost in the the factionalism conflict in the Ooku. Ooku is the name of the harem. It's very scary that how women's battles unfold. And Iwasa Matabe, he's said to be the roots of ukiyo-e, the woodblock prince. He is said to be the forefather of woodblock prince, and he lived during the late Sengoku era. His father was a warlord who revolted against the infamous Oda Nobunaga. And how does his life unfold? Yagiyu Sekishusai, I think I've shared this in a post maybe 2 years ago or something. It's a sword master who evaded taxes. And his Sekishusai, his name means sinking, it means stone boat. So it's like he was very sorry for evading taxes when he got caught. So he renamed himself Sekishusai, sinking boat. He's a funny guy. This guy, there's one question asking who's my most favorite historical figure. This is my most favorite historical figure. Oda Ujiharu is he is allegedly the weakest warlord in Japanese history. But it's because he lost his home castle headquarters like 9 times. And he recovered it 8 times. So the last time he couldn't recover it, so he lost his home at the end. But he did survive like countless battles. How and why was he so weak? The mystery, I talk about that mystery. Oda Ujiharu, I love him. Murasaki Shikibu is a very, very famous figure. She's said to be the Japan's first novelist. Perhaps the world's first novelist, in some opinion, and how she was an underdog before because she had to enter the Japanese court, the noble court, as a lady in waiting, and her first day was a mess, and she had the, what did I say? She had the mental strength. I don't know, mental strength of a fly, of a mosquito. And it's like she showed up the first day and then she went home and didn't show up for work for 6 months. So, it sounds like some of us, right? But she, as you might know, she turned out to be the most famous novelist in Japanese history. So how did that happen? I talk about that mystery. Sengoku Hidesa, he might be my second most favorite warlord in Japanese history. He basically starts from, it's like a rags to riches kind of guy, but it's not just rags to riches, it's like rags to riches to back to rags and then to semi-rich, that type of life. So he experiences downfall a few times, and it's very inspiring to read about his how he made a comeback. So I know everyone goes through that stage in life. It's inevitable. So how did this guy make a comeback? And finally, the Satsuma Samurai. This is the longest chapter. It's like half the book. If you live in England, if you're British, I think you'll like this story because you talk about the friendship between the Satsuma Samurai and the English Navy. And if you ever wondered why tangerines are called satsumas in England, you'll find out why. Right. Thank you. Are there any interesting stories about Tosainu? No. But to give it away, I am currently writing a book. I think it will be the longest book I've ever written. But part of it, a chapter will be on Inu, on dogs. So hopefully you'll be satisfied reading that. Okay, and that's for Underdogs of Japanese History. The second product release is a Spanish version of Horror Tales of Japan, Cuentos de Terror de Japón. That's all I can read. I cannot read Spanish. But in English, it's like 21. I forgot what it was. Anyway. Yeah, the Horror Tales book, I know many people have. It's the second most popular book of my 4 books I've ever written. It was again translated by my favorite Venezuelan Spanish translator, Delia Salazar. I mean, she's like one of only 2 translators who translated a book of mine to the end. Like, I think there were like 7 or 8 would-be translators who said they wanted to translate, and I said, okay, sure. I'm not gonna pay for something I don't know if there's a market for, so I'll give you 50% royalties if you complete it. And only 2 completed it, you know. I think I realized, you know, it's like the rest of the translators, a year passed, 2 years passed, nothing, not a word for update, you know, of them. So I realized like many people are not built to, you know, write books or write whole books or translate whole books. You know, I know they're busy and everything, but Delia had a full-time job and 2 kids, and still she did it in 6 months. You know, yeah. So that's when I wrote to everyone and said like that's it. You translated. If you don't have a finished manuscript now, this is over. And that's why I only have a Spanish version of Folktales of Japan and now Horror Tales of Japan. And we are working on one more. Actually, the manuscript is done. There's one more language coming out somewhere in Europe. I can't give it away yet because this one I'm working with a real publisher, so that you'll be availed at bookstores in Italy, not just Amazon. So please look forward to it. Just give it away as I say Italy. So if you're in Italy, please look forward to a book written in Italian. The original is written by me, of course. All right. And let's see what's next. All right, so let me just give you a sneak peek into this in case you haven't read it. Okay, but these stories, the scariest one to me is this one called The Funeral at Midnight. You need to read this, but it's a very psychological horror, I guess. And just to share my favorite bits of this book, in Japanese folklore, there are like lots of stories about spirits exacting revenge on humans, like spirits that represent nature. And the spirits almost always take the appearance of a beautiful woman, and they massacre men. It's always men who get the revenge. And I don't remember if I wrote this theory in this book, but it seems like men in pre-modern Japan often felt that their fear toward nature was similar to their fear toward women. So this is it's an underlying theme across Japanese folklore. So I'm sure you enjoy reading some of these stories. Thank you. Your work is very much appreciated. Thank you very much. Do you have stories about Sakamoto Ryoma? Yes. The Underdogs of Japanese History book or audiobook, there's a chapter, not a chapter, but I talk about Sakamoto Ryoma because we cannot discuss how Japan transitioned from pre-modern Japan to modern Japan without a mentioning of Sakamoto Ryoma. So I think in pages, he has like at least 5 pages dedicated to Sakamoto Ryoma in Underdogs of Japanese History. So Dayo 1 on. Is that right? Yeah, so if you read the book or listen to it, I think you'll be satisfied. All right, so let's go on to questions. If like anytime I take a glance at the chat and I see a new question, I might prioritize it. Oh, okay. Hello, Kyota-san. Do you think animes use these Japanese folklore and horror stories as inspiration for the anime? Totally, yes. There's a lot. I've received messages from many people in the past 3 or 4 years that reading Folktales of Japan, Horror Tales of Japan, it really kind of, enriches the experience of watching anime. It's like there's so much inspiration, or like quotes and like themes pulled from Japanese myths and folklore. And I cover many of these, especially in this Horror Tales book and Folktales book. So I think it will help. And cultural notes I attach on most books. Like this is Horror Tales of Japan, but each chapter is accompanied by cultural commentary, which helps you understand why people think like this, act like this, what was the social norm back then. And these cultural tidbits, they help, like people would go back to their favorite anime and rewatch things after reading my books, because it's just, it's a different experience. It becomes a different experience. Kyota-san, how have you seen Mononoke Hime? Of course, that's my favorite Ghibli film. And if you read all my books, you will see a lot of references from folklore and history, especially Underdogs of Japanese History and my other history book, Love Tales of Ancient Japan. If you see those, if you want read those, you'll see that Miyazaki Hayao, he is extremely knowledgeable about Japanese history and myths and folklore. And I'm always awed, and I find new things every time I watch Mononoke Hime. Let's see, let's go on to my first question that I got from Instagram. How do you do your research on specific things? For example, on those animals featured at shrines. Yes. Thank you for the question. Kaimoto Books. Kaimoto Books. San. Research. Actually, I realized that I do 2 things in terms of inputting knowledge and information. One is basic studies, like fundamental studies. I read books by researchers and historians about different eras of Japanese history, and also about different bits of the culture, like tea ceremony or Noh theater or whatnot. And not all of these books are very easy reads, because historians and researchers, what is like, they're often writing towards their community, right? Their academic community. So the way they write is very rigid, very academic. But there are some authors that I really, really aspire to be like, who write in a way that is enjoyable for anyone. Right, they're very few, so it's a skill. But anyway, so I read up on those basic fundamental knowledges so that I have a solid base. And then I think about, okay, so I want to do something about animals, because people like animals on Instagram, right? And YouTube too. So then I think about shrines, and then just do an online research and make sure the information I get is from a credible source. So the basic stuff you learn in university, I guess. All right, I hope that answers your question. Do you have plans to tour? Thank you, Usain-san. He's like a regular on Instagram. I see him comment every post. Thank you very much. I don't have plans to tour yet, but once the Italian publishing goes well, I might be sent off to Italy. but that is after it's in a year, right? At least I think. When will you get Spanish version of Underdogs of Japanese History? As soon as Delia finishes it. So maybe in 1 or 2 years. Okay, let me glance at the chat box. How do you decide what makes it into the book and what doesn't? This is actually a very the answer might be useful if you're a writer or you want to be a writer or a content creator, I guess. I have it's all about standards. So as you might have noticed, every short video, every reel I make, I am trying to make you laugh, right? So that's my standard. There needs to be at least one moment of laughter. And as I told you, I do my studies and research, and I look for stories, I look for interesting tidbits on culture, and when I realize, I can come up with a joke, I can come up with a way to present this in a funny way, then I consider bringing it to you guys. Same thing with the books. Not all stories are funny, of course. Some historical figures or many folk tales in Japan, they end unhappily, right? So, but there has to be an aha moment, laughter and or aha moment. Aha moment and or laughter. Aha moment is the most fundamental. So, like when you read a book, you're investing time, right? So if you invest time, you will want to get something out of it, right? You spend 30 minutes reading, and if you don't get any aha moment, then you will feel like you just wasted 30 minutes of your life. You're never going to read that book again. You're never going to read that author again. So you need to set standards, or I need to set standards. I have set standards. Can you do a samurai voice? In Japanese. スタンダードを設けることが肝要でござる. That's my samurai voice. Right, so you need standards. That's how you get a solid readership and a solid followership on social media or anywhere. That's the most important thing. Set standards and elevate your standards gradually. Let's go back to the question. Drop a list of the best ice cream spots in Tokyo. You have them. There was like one time, like maybe a 3-month period where I was posting like poetry inspired by ice cream. It was practice for myself in preparation for writing my 4th book, Love Tales of Ancient Japan. Because it involves a lot of poetry, because they are stories from the Heian period. Heian period is like a world of court nobles where they speak in poetry, right? So I had to practice. I realized I had to practice not just transcribing the meaning of each poem, but also retaining their rhythm and the rhythmic feel and the melancholic feel or subtle emotions in poetry form. So I had to practice, and that's why I started the poetry series, and I ended it because I finished writing the book. But anyway, the ice creams. Actually, I've lived in the U.S. and to be honest, I haven't had better ice cream than Cold Stone's in Japan. Cold Stone used to be in Japan for, I don't know, maybe a decade, but they kind of retreated recently. Unfortunately, Japanese people didn't get the beauty of it. But whoever thought of like throwing in treats in ice cream, genius. So I still miss Cold Stone. That's one thing I miss about the U.S. Learned a lot from your channel. Thank you very much. And wait, are you American? No, I'm not American. I'm Japanese. Actually, my father is Taiwanese. My mother is Japanese, so I'm technically half Taiwanese, half Japanese. But I was born in Japan. I was raised in Japan. I was in North Carolina for college, just 4 years, and then I came back. Right. Love your stories. Do you know any Japanese folktales related to the railways? There are no folk tales because railways are an urban phenomenon, so there aren't any folk tales in the sense we know it. There are anecdotes, historical anecdotes on the railways. I think I made a short video on this maybe a few months ago, that Japanese people, when they were first introduced to trains, like choo-choo trains, they didn't know. So it's like an indoor vessel, right? So a vehicle. So they didn't know if they were supposed to take off their shoes or go in with shoes. So it's like a joke. It's like after a train left, there were many shoes left on the platform. So I think that's a very funny anecdote from the railway history of Japan. All right. And did you study acting because you were so into your storytelling? Oh, thank you. No, I never studied acting. I grew up, not grew up. I when I was in college in the U.S., I was blessed with the TV series, the sitcom series Friends. And I don't know if I after I mentioned that, I don't know if some of you guys see a resemblance of Friends humor, but definitely that had an impact on me. And also, there was one, maybe for a year or two, I watched a lot of stand-up comedy, especially the non-American stand-up comedians in America, like Ronnie Chang and Ismo, I think. And there was, I forgot her name. There was a Japanese lady who did stand up on like erotic themes. Anyway, so I really respect these people making comedy accessible to many people, not just they don't do just inside jokes that only for example people living in America would understand. They usually do jokes that anybody would understand around the world, given that you understand English. So I think they had some impact. So it's all natural. It's like I always think, how would this character respond to this other character, and I exaggerated that by 10, and that's my character. All right. I think you would blow up even more if you committed to a short series teaching learners grammar in funny ways, because I'm a learner that struggles horribly with grammar. Yeah, maybe so. That might be. You mean like Japanese grammar, right? Maybe so. Actually, like any native speaker, grammar is difficult, right? Because we don't really learn grammar in the sense that non-native speakers learn. So we need to think about it, but it might be a good idea, yes. What's the hardest Japanese specific topic to cover, and how do you approach it? Hardest, actually, I want to answer this one. What's the hardest Japanese topic to cover? Topics on war. Like the samurai periods, they're like long past, like they're pre-modern Japan, so we don't associate ourselves too much with them. But more recent wars, like in the 20th century, there are wars that Japan participated in, and especially World War II. Japan like went around raiding neighboring countries. Those are very, very sensitive topics. So as you might have noticed if you've been watching my shorts or reels for a long time, I never cover those stories because I would rub different kinds of people in the wrong way. Anything I say, right? So and that's I'm not like a Japanese nationalist who wants to who has this big patriotism. I'm not that kind of type. So I'd rather spend my time learning about and telling you guys about pre-modern Japan. So that's my specialty, and I usually don't touch the more modern ages. Let's see. Kyota-san, my kids love your videos and request for them every day. Oh, thank you. Thanks for injecting humor into your stories about Japanese culture and folklore. How did you develop this excellent level of English? Right. So why do I speak English? I went to international school in Tokyo, from elementary school, and that's why I have picked up it sounds natural. The accent sounds natural, but obviously I'm not a native English speaker, so I stutter a lot like this, right? But I think the pronunciation I got from my school days, but the real English I acquired after I graduated university. I hardly talked in college. I became an English teacher for like 12 years. So I was teaching English to Japanese business people and Japanese kids for a long time. So I developed this, not this character per se, but way of teaching. And of course, I need to be correct all the time because I'm an English teacher, right? So I was very careful. I studied a lot. I still haven't, gotten the language down 100%, but that's why. Hey, in your opinion, if all yokai were real, how would Japan and the rest of the world be? Oh, if yokai were real, I don't know. I don't know. If yokai were real, how about in Japan? If yokai were real, it will be like the world of Pokemon, right? People will be catching yokai. There's a game called Yokai Watch, or anime or / game Yokai Watch. It's a copy of Pokemon. Just replace Pokemons with yokai, so it'll be Yokai Watch in the world. Let's see. Okay, let's go on to the next question here. Anything about samurai? Anything about samurai? Samurai. I usually depict samurai as like ordinary dudes, because there was a question about I think later I think it will appear, but about Bushido, and somebody was asking, what do you think about Bushido? And maybe this I can kill two birds with one stone. So if you've read something about Bushido or heard about it, it's about how samurai are to be. Their stoic, their disciplined way of being. And while there were some samurai or warlords who were like that or tried to be like that, that was an ideal of samurai. And we none of us are ideal beings. No, almost no samurai were ideal samurai. So those are ideals. What's written in Bushido is like the samurai ideal, not the samurai personality in general. Okay, samurai were like ordinary dudes. They were like corporate warriors of today. So they had to come to work at a certain time, and they had to even on their, it was stricter. Even on their days off, they had to come back before 5, and of course, sometimes they wanted to play a little longer outside, so their bros in their dorms would kind of hold the guard back so that they can buy time for their bros to come back. They did all these things, so they're just ordinary people. So that's something I love talking about pertaining to samurai. What's the difference between yokai and ayakashi? Seriously asking because Netsume Yujincho uses both in the anime interchangeably. Right. There are many terms that Japanese people in pre-modern times used to refer to supernatural creatures, supernatural beings. Yokai, ayakashi, mononoke, oni. Anything else? Yeah, that's what I guess. So there are many terms. I think it's depends on the region you're from. But there are many terms that they refer to things that you cannot see but are scary. Okay, so these are used interchangeably. I don't know if you saw, but when I said, have you watched Mononoke, I meant another anime called Mononoke, which goes into yokai, not Princess Mononoke. Oh, really? Mononoke. Then no, I haven't seen many recent anime. The only manga I read is a manga called Sengoku, and it's ended recently, so I read no manga anymore. So sorry, I don't know that anime per se. Okay, this is from YouTube. So excited. I want to know, were you always interested in history, or did you discover your knack for it later? By the way, your humor and acting is the best. Thank you. visit your channel, especially when I want to stop stressing. Oh, that's great. Yes. I'm glad to hear that as a byproduct of my shorts and reels. You can stop stressing. That's great. Were you interested in history? Kind of. Like as I told you before, I went to international school, which means I didn't go through the standard Japanese school curriculum. So there was no Japanese history class for me. And the first touch point with Japanese history was a game called Nobunaga no Yabo, Nobunaga's Ambition, or The Ambition of Nobunaga in English. It's a strategy game, and that's where I learned about Japanese history for the first time. And then fast forward like 2 decades, and when I was working at my last company, I was making learning material for English learners. And one day, the president told me to make Japanese curriculum for non-Japanese people coming to work to Japan. So I realized, of course, I can speak the language, but I knew nothing about Japanese culture, which I thought was the more difficult part of living and working in Japan. So I started studying Japanese history, Japanese culture. The first book I picked up on Japanese culture was Japanese Food History. It was an excellent book. Like I mentioned before, there was that kind of author who is a historian but can communicate his findings in a digestible manner. So I was very lucky. I got really into learning about Japanese culture, and I've been reading ever since. That was like 6-7 years ago. Yeah. All right. Let's see. And this is from YouTube too. What's your favorite era from Japanese history? Are you interested in international history too? My favorite era from Japanese history, well, it will forever be the Sengoku period, because it's the war-torn era where I call it the samurai battle royal period, where Japan is split into like 24 territories, domains, and each domain is fighting against the neighboring domains like every single day, right? So there are many legendary warlords, and it's all exciting for especially men. But now that I've written many books, or 4 books, I now like the Edo period, the period following the Sengoku period. It's a peaceful time. So there are many crazy people doing crazy stuff. So they usually provide very funny inspiration for reels and shorts. And also I like the Heian period. Heian period is all about love between court nobles. So they courted, male nobles courted female nobles with love letters in poetry. And it's very interesting how, I think I've posted this before, but these love letters were scrutinized by the ladies' parents. So you had to be damn good at poetry to get past their parents. So that's why male nobles in the Heian period worked their ass off, like studying poetry, because they want to get laid, right? So that's my favorite period too. So I have many favorite periods. The one period I'm not knowledgeable about yet is the Kamakura period. It's when the first samurai shogunate was established. That's a very, very difficult period. I know I am not confident to write a book about it yet. So I'll be doing some studying there. Thank you for your stories of strong females. Do you have a favorite? Oh, I have many. Which one was it? Was it in the Horror Tales book? I've made a reel about this too. What was her name? Myorinni. Mrs. Myorinni is the badassest woman in Japanese history. You'll enjoy her story. it's in the Horror Tales book, but it's not a horror tale. She's a real person. I wrote about her as part of the cultural commentary, historical commentary on a relevant story. But basically, I think her husband was killed by the Satsuma samurai in southwestern Japan, and to get back at them, she fortified her husband's castle with all the women that were left. All the men were, all the able men were off to another castle to protect their boss's castle. So it was just women and old men and children. So she just fortified the castle with the ladies, and she taught samurai warlord wives tend to have some skills in combat and sometimes rifling. So she taught how to use the rifle to her ladies in waiting, and they shot at the Satsuma samurai and fended them off for a few weeks. But they finally ran out of food, so they opened their castle and they surrendered. But it was not over then. She had a ploy against the Satsuma, and she exacts revenge on them. And you should read the book. Have you researched the Ainu? Yes. Are you planning to make a book about? Yes. Actually, the Horror Tales book, the last chapter is about the Ainu. So I feature one Ainu folktale and the Ainu history until they became subdued by the shogunate. So I think it's the last 10 or 12 pages of the Horror Tales book. So if you're interested, please try the book. Okay, this question. Sorry, not sure if it's appropriate, but I'm reading. This is the person who asked about the Bushido. So it's an ideal, but no, it doesn't describe samurai in reality. Sorry, not sure if it's appropriate. What was your introduction to English? I answered this, right? Thank you. Thank you, Uras-san. Is it true that Japanese people have difficulty saying L in words and replace it with R? Well, yes, that's pretty famous, yes. So what's a good example? So this live stream will be live stream, right? In Japanese. And have you always worked in a history-related field, whether it was writing books, teaching? Right. Or were you doing something else before you started your channel? So I was working, my last company was a company that provided a platform to learn English online. So it was like an online English lesson platform for business people. So I was making learning material there. And actually, I was making video lessons. So that's why I speak like this in front of camera. And would you ever consider selling your books printed in Japanese outside of Japan? Japanese versions. I would love to have them, but I don't think I will unless a publisher wants to do it for me. Because I'd rather write a new book in English than going back to an old book and making a Japanese version myself. So unfortunately, I'll probably not. Okay. Well. 京田さん、韓国からよく見させてもらってます。隣国ながら自国の文化を客観的かつ面白く伝える姿に一層感銘を受けています。これからも頑張ってください。ありがとうございます。So this person from Korea is saying how I objectively talk about my own country's culture, and she or he enjoys this. Thank you very much. Yes. So there are things that no country is perfect. We all have our dark ages, so I write about those dark ages a little bit in my books, but of course in shorts and reels, it's supposed to be happy, so I tend to avoid those topics. So if you would like to learn more about the dark side of Japanese history, Japanese culture, please read my books. One of my favorite stories of the Sengoku Jidai is a rumor that Takeda Shingen had a crush on Uesugi Kenshin. Right. I don't know about Uesugi Kenshin. Uesugi Kenshin is like a neighboring warlord of a neighboring domain. Takeda Shingen is like a legendary warlord. Uesugi Kenshin is another neighboring legendary warlord. They fought like several times against each other, and they had many draws because they're both invincible. But with Takeda Shingen, I know as a fact that he was bisexual, so he had a boyfriend among his staff, and there are many letters from Takeda Shingen apologizing to his boyfriend, how he didn't mean to, act so affectionate towards another subordinate. I'm sorry, you caught me doing that. I didn't mean it. Please forgive me. He writes all these love letters to his boyfriend. So I don't know about Urasui Kenshin, but yes, he was a bisexual. I really love your videos. They are just so good. They always motivate me to continue studying Japanese. ありがとうございます. Thank you. And you're studying Japanese. That's great. I don't know. Like since I don't know 3 or 4 years ago, I started noticing there's so many people learning Japanese. That's amazing. It's a rigid language, but I promise it's rewarding. It's so funny how Japanese is used when in like not just anime but anywhere. It's very lighthearted in ads or in books too. I don't know. I really there's a lot of things I try my best but cannot express fully when transcribing it in English. There's a lot of funny moments I cannot share, and the funny ones I can share, I share. Let's go on for this. Why are so attractive? Thank you very much. I don't know. I try to be. What's your favorite animal? My favorite animal is a finch. I used to have a pet finch, a white finch. It's like a white finch is. I found out later, much later in life, that they're Japanese bred. Of course, they originally come from the gray and white finches came from Southeast Asia, but there was a family, or a woman actually, who bred these finches, and one day she found a white albino finch, and it was very weak, but she tried to keep it alive, and then it reproduced successfully, and that's why we have white finches in Japan. So it's thanks to a lady. I forgot her name, but I made a post like years ago. So glad your curiosity after learning what you needed for work brought you here. Reading one of your books, I could hear your voice as I read. Great work. I have your second one on order for Christmas. Thank you. Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoy your reading time during the holidays. Anything else? That's this. What are Japanese libraries like? Do you have old, rare books in dusty basements? I actually went to it's called the National Diet Library. It's like the biggest library and oldest library in Tokyo. It has like tight security, and you can't bring in any bags so that you won't, nobody will be able to like stuff a book and take it out. You can go to through a security check, and they loan out books that you reserve. It takes a little time, but the most serious libraries are like that. It is not dusty, but it is dark. like I don't know. That's my image of most libraries, but it's like fully concrete, and everyone's like looking down, not uttering a single word, just like how libraries should be. I think I saw something here. Love your content. It makes me so happy every video I watch. Thank you. I enjoy making those videos myself. It's a lot of energy, as you might guess. So I always need a nap right after shooting one video. It's a lot of energy. This is the happiest moment of my day. Oh, thank you. All right. That's some airport security level. Yes, exactly. It's like they lend you a plastic bag that's see-through so that the guards can see what's inside. So I think it's necessary to keep those historically important documents because they're ones from like, I don't know, several hundred years ago, so they need to keep the security high. If you could meet any Nihonjin, Japanese historical figure, who would it be and what would you talk about? If I could meet any Japanese historical figure. Well, okay, so my favorite warlord is Oda Ujiharu. I would ask, why didn't you defend your territory from inside your castle? So the reason he lost 9 times was because he never used his castle. He always charged into the enemy. He stormed out of his castle. Castles are meant to, help you defend, right? But he never used it. Why? And I have a theory written in the book, but, nobody knows. So I would like to confirm that. Why did you do that? And my theory is that there's a heartwarming reason. Next. Did you set out to become a writer and star, or did it just kind of happen? I set out to become a writer the moment I started studying Japanese culture, the first Japanese food history book I read. As a longtime teacher, I knew that the best way to retain knowledge was to teach it myself. So I started writing a daily post every single day. I think I missed, in the first 2 years, I wrote a post on Instagram every single day, except maybe 2 days a year when I just passed out because, I had a full-time job and I just couldn't some days. But I did that for 2 years, and then I think I got like 20,000 followers on Instagram from there. And then people on Instagram back then, thank you very much, they insisted that I write a book. And so I did. It took like me a year, but I did it. And then maybe 2 years from my first book, I started making videos like this. And that's when just things skyrocketed. I guess I should have done videos earlier, but that's why I'm here talking to you guys right now. I have to go to bed to get up for work. Oh, thank you for sharing time and your morning. Your night together. Mata ne. Bye bye. Kyota-san, thank you. We appreciate your efforts and what inspired to start content creation. Right. So as I mentioned earlier, did I like videos? What inspired? Well, I realized I needed to market my own books. I need to promote my own books. That's why I started videos. And thanks to everyone, I can now support myself just by selling books. So it has a lot. You can't just write a book and expect to become a full-time writer. You need to promote your books unless you have a publisher with you who will do the promotion for you. So I know another Instagrammer, I think she does YouTube too, Elizabeth something. She's a romance novel writer. She does videos like me, and she's obviously promoting her own books, and that's a way to go. For writers recently, I guess. You can do it by yourself if you can promote your book by yourself. I teach preschool, ages 3 to 5. Oh, I love how honestly you represent people. Thank you. Right. Sorry, I sometimes, talk about eroticism or, bloody eras that are not age appropriate for minors, but I hope you enjoy the rest. Your marketing worked wonders because I eventually want all your books. So thank you very much. Yes. The books, they cover serious topics too, but you can kind of expect, like many people are saying, once they go into my books via my videos, they will hear me narrating it without the audiobook. But it's a similar experience, I think. Hi, Kyota. I've been buying and reading your books. I love them. Better than Lafganio Han. Thank you. Love from Australia. Thank you very much, Monski-san. Yes. Lafganio Han, I had a chance to research on him very thoroughly just recently for a book that I wrote. Yeah, he's very influential. He's like he's Scottish, Irish. He has a very very complicated background. He was born in Greece, but he had I think a Irish father. I forgot. But anyway, he ended up in I think California and then eventually in Japan. He was one of the earliest settlers, Western settlers in Japan in the 1800s, and he helped establish folklore as a real study. He didn't establish folklore as a study, but he kind of laid the groundwork for the next generation to start that as like an academic subject. So very important guy. We love watching your videos in our family. It makes it easier to teach my daughter about folktales. Oh, it's been great for her to have more connection to her Japanese baba. I see. That's great. That's great. Yes. Actually, I wrote about how I was brought up watching this Japanese folktale TV series. It's ended already, but it was going on for like, I think 12 years. I forgot. But it's really helped me shape my personality now. Personality or like a set of morals. So Japanese folktales, well, it's not that, all the morals taught through the folktales are good, but many of them have helped me shape who I am. So I hope they help shape your daughter too. Oh, yeah, it's live now. That's right. That's right. We're doing it live. Because of you, I'm looking forward to my Japan trip this Christmas. Oh, yay! Have fun. Thank you. Yes, Kyota goes live right now. Thank you. That's right. So Tokyo. I live in Tokyo, so I don't know about other parts of Japan in Christmas, but I wanted to talk about this. Like one thing I don't dislike, but I feel it's very Japanese. It's the Christmas in Japanese. It's interesting. It's like it's celebrated as a commercial event, but obviously the people who are planning this, the designers who are hired to design the Christmas trees, they're not Christian, right? So they don't have the Christmas spirit. You don't feel the Christmas spirit like you would do, looking at photos from Germany, for example, the German Christmas. You feel the Christmas spirit even as a non-Christian. Japan doesn't do that. Japan, you instead of the Christmas spirit, you smell a budget. You smell the budget from the Christmas installments. It's not about the spirit. It's about commercial things. Raising sales. So please don't be discouraged. But I think you will be. Anyway, let's see. Maybe I'll go on until 2 p.m. here. So about maybe 20 minutes. Let's see. What's next? Hey, Japanese history man. I've got a question. Did Rio ninjas back in the day perform acrobatics? Not, of course, not like Naruto, right? Not like ninjas in Naruto. No, but they were very, very agile. Yes, as a training, they walked like, I don't know, tens and 20s of kilometers every day. Because they needed not just agility but stamina to run. Their main task is to run, get information from wherever they sneak in and run, and come back safely. That's their primary mission. So not acrobatics, but they were very physically able. Yes. I am grateful that you give the historical and cultural context for Japanese, so I know why I am saying the things that I learned. Oh, arigatou gozaimasu. Oh, so you're learning Japanese. That's right. Yeah, when you learn the context or the etymology of how the words came to be, like many Japanese people don't know because, like many native speakers of any language, they don't, it doesn't occur to them to try to find out the etymology, how the words they use daily came about, right? So but it really helps enjoy the language, yes. I see. Yeah, so they're not experiencing Christmas in Germany either. I see. Okay, so the world's coming to an end. Question for Sensei. As someone sharing his knowledge on Japanese culture and history, what's your biggest motivation? Well, honestly, like sharing laughs. When I see the laugh emoji, that's one of the biggest motivations, yeah. Because I'm meaning to make you laugh, right? Of course, telling stories and historical facts as factual as possible. But like one motto I've developed through my teaching experience is, if you have a if you're learning something, if you're in the shoes of the learner, what kind of teacher would you like, right? It's like, would you like a teacher who talks monotonously, monotonously, or a teacher who's animated, energetic, and who obviously likes what he's teaching? The latter, right? So I am an introvert. I hardly spoke to strangers until I had to in my first job teaching English. But I resolved to myself that I'm gonna become that animated teacher, and that's why. So it's about setting standards again. What kind of teacher would you like? Then be that. It's not about your personality, your original personality. Of course, it seeps out, but that's not what people are looking for. People are looking to learn things. Then, do you want it to be taught in a funny way, in an entertaining way, in a digestible way? Yes. So that's what I should provide. That's my underlying standard. I'd also like to say thank you. I get rough episodes of depression, and your shorts have been fantastic to pull me out of it. And so a massive thank you for that. Oh, thank you. That's great. I've been through a lot myself, like anybody does, right? Too. And yeah, I think maybe that's why I started watching stand-up comedy. I now recall that the years I was watching stand-up comedy, it was the most depressing time of my life. So those people helped me out. Now it's my turn. Yeah. A question for Kyota-san. What are the major influences of Japanese culture in other East Asian countries? Well, apart from anime, it's not that I've been to all these Southeast Asian countries or China. I've been to China and Taiwan, but Japanese culture. But one thing I've actually read from multiple writers in the past is that Japan as a culture is like the end of culture. So there was one good explanation where the guy said, turn the world 90 degrees, Japan at the bottom, and it's like a pinball machine. So culture comes from for example, Europe or Africa, and through the Middle East, and through China, and then through the Southeast Asia, and then end up in Japan. So it's like not completely, but it's almost unilateral, right? It comes into Japan, and because it's an island, there's nobody coming from the mainland like China criticizing us, like, that's not how tea is drunk. They don't come and say that to us, so we can just pick and choose, cherry pick the foreign culture that we want to keep, and discard the others. So that's how Japanese culture developed over the years, over the centuries. And it's not until recently, like anime, that there's a reverse trend, right? Japan's giving back culture to other countries. So I think that's the best I could say. A question for Kyota. How much of an influence do you think you have on mainstream Japanese media in Western countries today? You have on mainstream Japanese media in Western countries today. Me? Do you think I have on mainstream Japanese media? I think none. Because like when I'm walking, like for example in Shibuya or Shinjuku, the people who notice me, they're non-Japanese people. They came from other, like Singapore, or the U.S. or the U.K. or Australia. They notice me. No Japanese people notice me. Hello from Mexico. Hello from Tokyo. And what's next? Favorite folktale you heard growing up? Favorite folktale? Oh, there's so many. It's hard to pick one. What was a recent one I was looking at? Um, it's not a folk tale, but it's a myth. It's like the earliest myth of Japan. It's about the genesis of the Japanese islands archipelago. It's about Izanagi and Izanami. They're the founding gods of Japan to the Japanese islands. They're brothers and sisters, but also husband and wife, and they end up in a divorce. um, that cracked me up when I first read it a long time ago. Was there anything else here? What time is it for you? It's 1:45 right now, p.m. Let's go to the next question. Always curious to see the closest surroundings of the artist. Room, table, and tools. Park. There's no park, and this is my office, rather new. But as you can see, these round things are sound absorbers because obviously I shout a lot. Yeah, what was your major in college? Japanese history? No. I went to a college called Davidson College in North Carolina, and my major was music. I told my parents I'm gonna be an economics major, and then second year I became a music major. I was doing composition, music composition. I was a songwriter for the first 10 years after finishing school, and realized music is not for me. And it's after that I went into Japanese history and culture. I released 2 albums on iTunes as an indie, through an indie label. Favorite ice cream? Cold Stones. What first motivated you to become a YouTuber? Well, yeah, kind of answered already, I guess. YouTube. I just started YouTube when I started making videos. So all the videos I've ever made are on YouTube. I'm new here. How did you become interested in history? And I think I answered this already. What kind of pets did ancient Japanese people keep? Ancient Japanese people during the Heian period, nobles kept cats because they came in from China, and they were like luxuries. They're super cute. They fall asleep everywhere. So I think the earliest pets were cats. Dogs were also looked after, but not per household. They were looked after by community. That's the unit of ownership. So they're like stray dogs that were recognized as part of the village in every village in pre-modern Japan, until 200 years ago. What's your favorite color? I'm not wearing much today, but blue, navy is my favorite color. 60% of my clothes are navy. And any plans of making content about travel around Japan? Well, I made a few videos, my trip to Yamagata, climbing a mountain, and there's a Shinto shrine at the top. It's a nice hike, but I don't know if maybe in the future I might travel more. But now I don't know, 60% of the day I'm writing at home, so maybe not. I think I answered this kind of question. Japanese legends about dragons or other mythical creatures, also normal animals. Legends about dragons. Dragons are actually Chinese mythical creatures that came into Japan around the medieval times. Before the medieval times, there were no dragons, but there were serpents. So nowadays people call giant serpents and dragons interchangeably in Japanese myths and folklore. But there are many stories about giant serpents. I'm writing an epic book on all Japanese mythical creatures that there ever was right now. I think I've written 1 book worth of chapters already, but I'm not even a 10th done of it. So it's gonna be an epic book, but it's coming out probably in 1 or 2 years through a publisher, I hope. あなたの好きな科目は何ですか? What's your favorite subject, academic subject? I liked music. Music theory was one of my favorite subjects. Actually, I liked the professor. He was half German, half Brazilian with a Japanese wife. So he was a very interesting dude. He was also a comical professor. That I guess I got some influence from him. What are some of your favorite novels? No, I don't read so many novels because all the reading time I spend are like for you guys, right? For the books, for my books, and for you guys. So it's mostly about history and nonfiction. So I don't read so many novels. Like when I was in high school, I went to the bookstore and then I saw Lord of the Rings, like a big fat book, right? I opened the first page and then close it forever. So I'm not a novel guy, I don't think. I met your professor, really? In Davidson College. Mauro Botero. I hope. Dr. Botero is my favorite. Also, I don't know if you were in Davidson College, but it was Professor Botello and Professor Stasak that I think they're retired by now, but yeah. Do nine-tailed foxes figure in Japanese mythology? Nine-tailed foxes came from Chinese legends, but it also takes place in India and I think I forgot Vietnam. I forgot, but it came to Japan around the end of the Heian period, around the 1,000 years ago, and since then, nine-tailed foxes have been like commonplace in people's minds when we think about mythology. My Japanese class presentation must be on lesser-known Japanese topics. Any obscure tech, culture, or history idea you'd recommend? One of the most interesting topics for me is like how in the Edo period, the peaceful time, samurai ruled Edo period. So there was a samurai class and a commoner class, right? And people think that in pre-modern Japan, women were subdued by men. They had to walk 3 steps behind men when they traveled together. Blah blah blah. But that's only true for like a tenth of the population. Just like high-ranking samurai households, yes, they were like that. But in most cases, women were the rulers of the household. And that's like a big misunderstanding, even among Japanese people, about pre-modern Japan. I made a reel or short on this before, but Edo period women, commoner women, were referred to as Yama no Kami, which is mountain goddess, or Kaka Daimyojin, which means the great goddess mom, the great goddess of mom, something like that. So it's partly because women were fewer in Edo City, the old name of Tokyo. So, women, if they divorced, they had a queue. They had many men queuing for them to divorce, so that they could marry next, right? So she could divorce him anytime, and she would be remarried in a second. Whereas men, if they get, first of all, they only a fraction of men in Edo City could be married to a woman. And if they're lucky enough, the next challenge is like if they get divorced, that's it. They will never get married again. There's no way. Whereas women, they have all the chances they want. So whenever the husband, doesn't do his due diligence, doesn't come back with enough money, or he's sleeping all day, all the wife had to say was, "I'm gonna cheat on you. Is that what you want?" And then he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then they will start working again, So I think that's one of the most interesting things about the Edo period. Question for Kyota-san: could you maybe explain a bit about Japan's history with Indonesia, especially the occupation period? I'd love to hear your perspective. If you I talked about this like early on in this live stream, but I tried to avoid talking about a modern Japanese history where there's a lot of war with other countries and invading other countries, because it's not going to be a happy topic, and that's not my goal. So I specialize in pre-modern Japan, where it's it's more we can focus on the story and right. So I don't. I have no idea what's in that area. What's going on in Indonesia? Not in the depth I know about pre-modern Japan. Let's see. Maybe a few more. Which music gives you inspiration? Music. I've always loved Debussy, Claude Debussy, the French impressionist composer. I also, everybody in Japan likes Debussy and Ravel. They're both impressionist French composers. I was studying composition, so and I felt, Ravel, he's very, I don't know, in my opinion, his music is very logical. I can imagine composing bolero if I, spent time composing for another 30 years. I can imagine myself making it, but Debussy, I cannot imagine making that kind of music. Like, he's something different. He's very, very different. He's something very special. Gives me inspiration. Does the rest of Kyoto Prefecture act like people in Kyoto City? So this is a reference to my Kyoto beef shorts or reels. So Kyoto people, not all Kyoto people, to be fair, people who live in central Kyoto from the ancient times. So these are the biggest snobs of Japan. And any Kyoto people outside that snobbish central area, they're regular people. Right? So in defense of these snobbish people, they are the people who carry out the festivals. That if you go to Kyoto in summer, there's a Gion festival that everybody enjoys the parade of, right? Who's paying for that? The central snobbish Kyoto people, right? So they save money all year for those. It's like volunteer work, right? It's like charity for to keep the culture going. So they have that pride and they have the right to be snobbish because, that's the reason they're the reason the Gion festival has been going on for 1,000 years, right? Kyoto beef, yes, it was crazy. That's right. But it's funny because they're they consider themselves higher up. We can make fun of them. That's the fun part. What's it like to be so cool? Oh, thank you very much. Well, I don't know. I'm not trying to be cool, but I have to, as I told you before, like, would you like to learn from a regular looking teacher or a charismatic looking teacher? So I aspire to be that. Why the Metro Classic? Thank you. This, to be honest, like, you find sometimes like major figures on SNS, social media, where they have a handle name that's very different from their account name. It's because they never imagined they would become so big, and the Metro Classic is like a project name that I came up with. Actually, my books, if you look at the cover, it says a Metro Classic Japanese book, right? So I've kept that in that form. It sounds like as if it's a publisher name, but it's not. It's just a name there to make it look more legit, right? It's just my project name. Metro Classic means metro. I refer to like city. I was living in the city, but I realized 6-7 years ago that I knew nothing about Japanese culture, and I didn't know how to enjoy Japanese culture myself. So I started studying the classics, and being in the city, but still enjoying the culture. That's the type of person I wanted to be. Did I see something here? I just taught my daughter about the reasons behind the Oiran Dochu back at their peak, and she was gobsmacked. Ever considered talking about this subject? Yes, this is one of those very, very intriguing topics, but also cannot be discussed without mentioning the dark parts, behind the scene dark parts of the Oiran. Oiran is like a courtesan, like a top courtesan of the Edo period. I just finished writing about them in my next book, the epic book I'm writing, that's bound to release probably 2 years later. very extensively about them. So I hope you look forward to it. Okay. I tried Audible for Kyota books, but not available. So as I mentioned earlier, it's not available in Audible. That's the platform I'm not availing the audiobooks on because of Amazon being mean to other platforms. Just the audiobook reign that there. I'm sorry for Audible users, but all right. Not sorry. Yeah, I'm writing as fast as possible, but it's not gonna be soon. It's a really long book because I owe to write about all the mythical folklore creatures in Japan. I won't be able to cover all, but all that I could think of. So anyway, all right. Okay, so it's 2 o'clock now. I think I've spoken for an hour and a half. I didn't get through all the questions. Maybe I'll just do one more. Why are you so cocky? Thank you. Why are you so cocky? Thank you. I don't know. I just found myself being like this. Are you planning to do any audiobook releases on Audible? Sorry, so no. Unless Audible changes their terms to be more amicable with their competitors, I don't think I would do Audible. Right. Okay. So Neko. Right. I recently like Neko or cats because that's what Instagram feeds me on my feed. Anyway, so it's been an hour and a half. It was a pleasure talking to you guys. And thank you for all the questions. The super thanks too. I very much appreciate it. I don't know what do. This was I tried doing this format for a product release, right? And then Q&A because I don't have a channel to interact with everyone otherwise. But do you guys want this again? Do you guys want another live session? Even if there's no product release, please do this again. Thanks for the stream. Okay, thank you. Good shit. Thank you. All right. Yes. Okay. All right. So maybe I'll book a live stream from time to time, maybe once a month or something. Thank you very much. Thank you, Marian-chan. Maria-chan. Maria Christoph. Thank you. Okay, so you guys have a nice day. Please check out Underdogs of Japanese History, the audiobook, available in platforms other than Audible. And if you're in the Spanish language zone, please check out the Horror Tales of Japan, the Spanish version on Amazon. Thank you. Thank you. Sleep well. And if you're going to work, good luck. And have a nice weekend. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. How do I shut this down? Oh, there you go. Bye-bye.